Here we go, sports fans. It's Monday night. The Sports Hounds are live exclusively on A2DRadio.com. Brad Ryer, Rob Brinkman, Frank Vesby producing the show. Tons to talk about tonight. The NFC East race, just when you think it can't get any worse, the Eagles go out, look like a bunch of bums against the Giants. The Giants get a big win over the Eagles. They get off the schneid. We're going to get to the poll question in a second. We're going around the NFL. We have Monday Night Football on tonight. The NBA draft is on Wednesday. There's baseball moves are slowly trickling in. We'll break some of them down. Also, the potential free agents. But as always, the Sports Hounds are streaming live on Facebook, Periscope, YouTube, and Instagram. If you miss anything here on A2D Radio, download us, stream us in podcast form. Spreaker, Spotify, Google Play, iHeartRadio, iTunes. Takeover's real. A2D Radio is everywhere. Each and every Monday, the Sports Hounds are brought to you by Specialized Physical Therapy with Dr. Paul Vidal. He's our doc. Make them yours, too. That's 3 convenient locations, Burlington, Cherry Hill, and Princeton. Like I said, he's A2D Radio's doctor. Make them yours, too. We're also brought to you by the Gutter Guys at Ambuck Services. They are the gutter and deck experts of South Jersey. Give them a call at 856-879-5530. Each and every week, our poll question is brought to you by Philly Drinkers LLC. Visit phillydrinkers.com. Click on the A2D Radio collection. Get all your garb. Get a Sports Sound shirt. Get an Agree, Disagree shirt. AM to PM. All the shows have their own shirts. We have A2D Radio exclusive stuff. We got tumblers. We got blankets. We got everything you need for your friends and family for the holiday season is with Philly Drinkers. Mr. Brad, congratulations. You guys are off the side against the Philadelphia Eagles. I thoroughly enjoyed the past couple of seasons having New York's number, but not yet.
They almost won. They almost won the last game.
Yesterday, the Giants had the Eagles number, and that brings us to our poll question, Brad. The New York Giants will win the NFC East. Hashtag agree. Hashtag disagree. I'm going to kick it to you first, but first I think we can both agree that Dallas and Washington they're out. It's going to be the Eagles or the Giants. Would you agree with that?
Yes, I would.
Is it going to be the Giants or is it going to be the Eagles, Brad?
I think it's going to be the Giants because I think your schedule is absolutely going to kill you the last few weeks of the season. I mean, listen, no game is automatic for the Giants. We already know that. I mean, See, in New York, we understand that the Giants are not that good. We get that. You guys some of you just don't get it that the Eagles. I think a lot of fans that weren't getting it before yesterday get it now. Yeah, they're just not good this year. I mean, if the Redskin game didn't convince you, and the Bengal game didn't convince you, and the fact that the Ravens had their way for 3.5 quarters with you. And yesterday didn't convince you. I don't know what else to say. They're just not good this year. They may be good enough to win this division because, it may only take 6 or 7 wins to win this division. But, I mean, I don't know if the Giants or Eagles are capable of doing that. I mean, the Eagles have a brutal schedule coming up. No game is automatic for the Giants, for sure. I mean, yeah, they get to play Cincinnati when they come back. That should be a win, but I mean the Giants still have to play Seattle and Arizona. Those aren't going to be easy games, you have to look at it. Those are probably going to be 2 losses, and they're going to have to play the Ravens. So those are 3 losses. So you probably are looking at the Giants losing 10 games. Now the Eagles, meanwhile, have that gauntlet of New Orleans, Seattle,
Cleveland. You get Cleveland next week. You get Green Bay, you get Arizona, you get New Orleans, and then you have the 2 division games against Dallas and Washington left. I'm not sure. I think I nailed the order of that correctly, but they definitely have Cleveland next week. And Arizona is the last of those four games. I'm fairly certain of that as well. They're not.
I mean, those are going to be very, very difficult games for the Eagles to win. The way they've been playing.
They'll be lucky, Brad. The Eagles will be lucky to win the 2 division games.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking more along the lines that they could be 2-5, and if they're 2-5 and the Giants are 4-3, the Giants are going to win the East.
I think the Giants are going to win the East. Daniel Jones gets better and better every week. Giants are playing incredible defense right now. James Bradbury is an absolute stud. Blake Martinez has been awesome. Your defensive line with Leonard Williams and Dexter Lawrence have been awesome. Joe Judge has
really been a good coach. I mean, he's been a good coach.
You know what? Because they've lost a lot of tough games to a lot of really good teams, and it could have been very easy for them to just roll over and quit on the season. And Joe Judge has not let them do that. They are right here. I would consider them the favorites in the NFC East. I can't sit here and look at the Eagles, and I don't think they're going to be favored in one game the rest of the season. And yet, they played Dallas and Washington the last two games. They're not going to be favored next week against Cleveland. They sure as hell don't even care if Jameis Winston is playing when they play the Saints.
He won't be
favored in that game.
Yeah, I mean,
certainly not going to be favored against Arizona or Green Bay. So I'm looking at the final 6 games of the season. The Eagles aren't going to be favored in any of them. And I don't even see how you can make an argument that you can even be on the same field as teams like Arizona, Green Bay, New Orleans, and Seattle. You're going to play Seattle? Are you kidding me?
Well, the Giants have to play them too, so it's going to be a tough game for them.
And too. Seattle, they're not playing great football right now either.
Yeah, but they can score, though.
You know, Russell Wilson's turned the ball over. The luster of his MVP campaign has gone right out the window. They lose to the Rams yesterday, 23-16. They're going to be favored by 2 touchdowns against this Eagles team. I mean, you look at this. I mean, how many times can I point out the deficiencies with this owner, Jeffrey Lurie? He's a bad owner, folks. Jeffrey Lurie is a bad owner. He's soft. He doesn't hold his organization accountable for their shortcomings.
So is Mara, for that matter. But I mean,
he gives Howie Roseman a longer leash every season, more responsibility, more leash. Howie Roseman stinks. He is an inept general manager. He doesn't know his ass from his elbow when drafting players. Yeah, he can do some cute things with the salary cap and all of a sudden wave his magic wand and renegotiate Fletcher Cox's contract or whoever's contract and create $7.5 million worth of cap space somehow. Cool. You got to draft well in this league. You can't pick a quarterback and pick 53 and try and sell an intelligent fan base that you're all in for a Super Bowl championship this year. What that pick showed to me, and I've been saying this for months and months and months about the Jalen Hurts pick. The Jalen Hurts pick told me 2 things, Brad. A, they're not 100% sold that Carson Wentz is their franchise quarterback. And guess what? He's yet to play 60 minutes of good football in 2020.
That's true, and that's a problem.
Makes $100 million. Max Kellerman, who I can't stand and hate, put it perfectly today on first take. You pay a quarterback $100 million to cover up your team's deficiencies. Not so your $100 million quarterback can be part of the problem. Carson Wentz is a ginormous part of the problem. And I know all you Carson Wentz apologists, maybe you're starting to realize it now after yesterday's loss to the Giants. Carson Wentz, not very good.
No, and you know what the problem is he doesn't have that mobility he used to have. That knee injury and then the back injury, I think it crushed his career. I mean, he kind of looks paraplegic back there. I mean, he doesn't move. I mean, there were a couple of instances, especially on the 4th down play in the 4th quarter, where instead of throwing the ball to a receiver with Bradbury all over, who was it that dropped that broke up that last pass? Bradbury. Before he was covered. I mean, you have to look up and see who.
Are you talking about the one over the middle where it hit Fulgham right in the hands and he dropped it?
Yeah, I mean, but you still have to look and see who. You have to look and see where Bradbury is, because Bradbury is their best corner, and he's going there. I mean, if that was Jones would have just taken the ball and he would have run for the first down.
Brings me to my next point, Brad. How on God's green earth is a player like Daniel Jones running up and down the field on you? I read a stat online today. I'm off on Monday, so I spent a lot of time on the internet, a lot of time on my phone. 40% of opposing teams' rushing yards have come from quarterbacks or receivers. 40% of the opponent's rushing yards against this Eagles defense have come from quarterbacks or wide receivers.
Yikes! I didn't realize it was that much. That's a lot. I mean, now look, you did.
It's week 10, though, Brad.
Yeah,
you can't recognize that you're soft against you're letting quarterbacks run. You're getting killed by ghost reverses.
They have had to play Jackson.
Screens.
They played against Jackson and Jones, though. I mean, in 3 of those games, and
40%.
They're pretty
That's
good.
That's an alarming statistic, Brad. That's more alarming than Carson Wentz's turnover statistics, which is also bad.
Yeah, well,
we didn't turn the ball over yesterday. That doesn't excuse the other 9 weeks of trash quarterback play I've been putting up with from Carson Wentz. And yeah, I know he made a cute little throw against the Niners. You know, he made a cute little throw here and there, and everyone thinks he's going to turn the corner. Carson,
every quarterback.
Serious doubts, Brad, that Carson Wentz is this team's long-term answer to the quarterback. And Howie Roseman, with the 53rd pick in the draft last year, indicated to me that he agrees with that statement. Another thing that pick told me is that the Eagles brass, Howie Roseman, knew the Eagles weren't a contending football team this year. Why not take a chance on Jalen Hurts then? Maybe when we can get out of this Carson Wentz contract after next year with not a lot of dead cap space, we'll have our guy groomed and ready to go. I don't think Carson Wentz is the answer here in Philadelphia, folks. I really don't. I have serious doubts. And
I think a lot of problems with you guys as your coach. I don't think you're playing.
Let's get started. Let's get that ball rolling then, Brad. What did you yesterday?
You are not playing to the strengths of your coach. And I got to tell you.
Wait. Hold on. Doug Peterson has strengths?
No, I'm saying that Doug Peterson is not playing to Carson Wentz's strengths.
Well, what do you think Carson Wentz's strengths are? Because I don't see much. I don't see much Carson Wentz is doing good through.
Well, he stays in the pocket a lot. I mean, I know he's probably protecting his knee and he's probably protecting his back somewhat, but I think he needs to be moving around a little bit more. You know, I mean, their line isn't very good this year, and you know, it's really kind of he needs to be moving around a little bit. He needs a running back who can catch the damn ball too, because Miles Sanders has hands of stone. I mean, he may be a good athlete and a good runner, but he's not a good enough receiver, and that's a problem. Because in today's NFL, these receivers have to be able to catch the ball, and he's just not doing that at all. You know, and as fast as your receivers are,
Doug, hello. It took him till midway through the third quarter to get Carson out of the pocket. Giants are 26th in total defense against quarterbacks outside of the pocket. Hello.
Giants also.
Earth the Doug.
They also struggle against.
Stop with these 2-point conversions. Can he chill with 2-point conversions? What is his problem?
What is it with him with the 2-point conversions? I know
he knows there's an option in the rules where you can just kick it through the big yellow H and get 1 point.
Yeah, I'm not sure I understand.
It's 21-11 yesterday. The Eagles, I think, was after the Boston Scott big run.
Which, by the way, he was out of bounds at the 14-yard line, but we'll get into that later.
Well, I mean, it didn't cost you the game, and
no, it didn't. But he was out of bounds. I mean,
it was a big miss by the referees because it did certainly look like he's out of bounds.
And the replay booth blew it too, which is amazing. But you know,
it's not really that amazing. They don't know what they're doing.
Well, they don't like to change.
They have a bonehead. They have a bonehead officiating crew out there because it's the Eagles and the Giants, and they have 4 fucking wins between them because they both blow. So it doesn't surprise me that call. But Brett, we go over these scenarios with Matt. Now I'm not a mathematician at all, but it's 21-11. You get a touchdown. 11 plus 7 is 18. 21 minus 18 is 3. So you kick the extra point, you get 1 point, you're down. It's a one-possession game, 3 points. Who on God's green earth is telling Doug Peterson to go for 2 when it's 21-17?
I have no idea, but when you see
What's the best case scenario? You're going to make it 21-19 and you're down.
As a Giant fan, you're saying, "Wow, he's giving the Giants an opportunity to be able to lead by more than a field goal. If they don't make it, all the Giants have to do is keep him out of the end zone, and they'll win the game." And that's exactly what happened.
I don't get it. Who is telling him to do this? Is he doing this on his own? Is there an analytics person in the booth telling him it's advantageous to go for 2? Because if you make it, a field goal wins. I don't get it. I don't get it.
Is your field goal kicker even good enough to put pressure on him like that right now? Because I don't.
Jake Elliott is not a good. But Brad, sometimes there's just
unless it's a 60-yard field goal, he's not going to make it.
I mean, we've talked about Jake Elliott before, how he's not that great of a kicker, but I don't understand these 2-point conversions. I don't get it at all.
Harlem Cowboy.
I don't understand what they did. What did they do all the bye week? This is coming off a bye.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of Eagles fans, including myself, were hopeful that this team was going to take a week off and they were going to be healthy and they were going to show the team the clear division champion they should be this week against a Giants team that I don't think is very good, with all due respect to your squad.
They're not very good. That's the whole point. But the division, they're a product of the division. The division stinks. So being at 3-7, they're right in it. But I got to be honest with you, okay? The fact that they've been able to turn it around from being 1-7 to be 3-7 puts them in the race. And you know what? If they have a hot streak and start winning some of these games, you know, they could easily win this division. They don't have a killer schedule like the Eagles. They don't have to play the Packers and the Saints.
Well, one thing I will say about the New York Giants is their defense is I don't want to say elite because I don't want to get aggressive and carry
away. It's good. They have a solid defense.
They have a good defense.
They have they're very solid. I mean,
they have good players, at least one good player at every level.
I would give the Eagles credit for the Scott run. I wouldn't blame the Giants defense. Giants got faked out. I mean, it wasn't a blown assignment. They got faked out, and he beat them.
There's a pretty tiny hole Boston Scott snuck through there as well.
Right. But I'm just saying they got faked out. But it wasn't a blown assignment. The Giants didn't have any blown assignments yesterday, which is very impressive. The Giants played a really solid game yesterday.
You have Peppers and Bradbury in the secondary. You have your linebackers. Not really. Blake Martinez is the only household name that I really know about. And then you have Leonard Williams is playing fantastic.
Leonard Williams has suddenly gotten back into form again.
Dexter Lawrence out of Clemson, he drafted a couple years ago. He's a grown man in there at nose tackle.
He's been coming on. He's been playing a lot better. Lorenzo Carter is looking good. Tomlinson's been looking pretty good too. I mean, they're really defensively they're coming along. Patrick Graham has done a great job with that defense. And
then Daniel Jones seems to get better and better every week. And despite Saquon Barkley being out, I mean, Gallman and Devontae Freeman, who was inactive yesterday, they've been able to gain yards on the ground. And the line is much improved, even though they totally whiffed so far on the 4th pick in the draft, Anthony Thomas, a guy who I thought was going to be fantastic and fit right in for you guys.
Well, the other thing is Lemieux has been really good. I mean, and
out of Oregon, yes, he has.
Pert's been good. And, Zettler has been
out of Connecticut. What round did those guys go in, Brad?
I believe the 6th and the 7th pick. I think they were the 6th and 7th picks.
So 6th round and 7th round?
Yeah, they were very late picks. But you know what?
They both went after Jalen Hurts, is what you're telling me?
Oh, way after Jalen Hurts. Yeah. I mean, listen, Pete Carroll made a living out of drafting 5th, 6th, and 7th round selections on his defense when they had the Legion of Boom. If you remember all the great players that were on that team, they had a lot of late picks that were really good. And that really does – that kind of helps the fact that they screwed up the first round pick, and then their second round pick's been injured all season, and yet they still, a lot of their young players and the young draft players are coming through for them. And Evan Ingram didn't drop any passes yesterday, and no coincidence with the Giants in the last 2 games. Sterling Shepard has been back, and Sterling Shepard has been a major factor.
As has Darius Slayton.
Slayton's been playing with an injured ankle almost all season.
Golden Tate made a big play yesterday.
Yes, he did. And you know what? He seems to be all pumped up now. But
you know who stinks, Brad? Avonte Maddox. I'm sick of hearing about Avonte Maddox. Number 29 in white yesterday was trash. He's complete garbage.
They don't cut guys.
Garbage.
They don't cut guys who play like shit, do they?
No.
See, like
it takes them a year too long, and then what happens? They all go to someplace else and they thrive. Sidney Jones had 9 tackles, an interception, and 2 deflected passes yesterday. Sidney Jones, he couldn't even get on the field over Avonte Maddox here in Philadelphia.
I mean, the Giants had a guy like that.
Serious talent evaluation problem, along with a serious coaching problem. Look, Doug Peterson's a bad coach. He's a bad coach right now.
Not been a good coach.
He's not a good coach. Not even right now. I don't think he was ever a good coach.
His play calling is really stupid, and these 2-point conversions all the time, they don't make any sense. None. I don't get. You don't see the Giants doing that with they always kick their extra points. The only time Joe Judge ever goes for a 2-pointer is when the Giants have to have it in the fourth quarter. You don't want to do that. You said
something a couple weeks ago that I think every NFL coach should look in the mirror and take to heart. You should not be thinking about going for 2 before the fourth quarter.
Exactly. Or late in the third quarter. You shouldn't be doing that because if you miss, you're going to be chasing that point the whole game. And if you lose by 1 point because you went for a 2-point conversion, shame on you. I mean, it's a really stupid way to lose a game. And if you think about it, Doug doing that with the 2-point conversions, yeah, he got lucky. He got lucky on the first one, but he didn't get the second one, and that just made no sense. That made no sense because you know what? It gave the Giants a chance to kick 2 field goals and make it a 10-point game.
And it's
at that point, when it's a 10-point game, it's over. Even I felt it was over, that the Giants weren't going to blow that one.
Jalen Reagor, did he play yesterday?
Not very effectively.
I didn't see anything.
I thought the Giants defensively played very well yesterday. They've been playing very well for a long time.
Yeah, I look at all these hits in this draft that was chock full of receivers. Let's take Judy and Ruggs and Lamb out of it because the Eagles didn't have a chance. One's about to play right now on Monday Night Football. Justin Jefferson. He's been terrific. T. Higgins in Cincinnati. He's been terrific.
Higgins, you could have had T. Higgins too. I forgot about him.
Michael Pitman. Michael Pitman battled injuries earlier in his career, earlier in the season. He's back now. He's an absolute beast. He's Phillip Rivers' favorite target. He's become the number 1 receiver there in Indy. He's a hit. Chase Claypool in Pittsburgh. He's probably going to be the offensive rookie of the year. He scored 4 touchdowns against you.
How many?
Jalen Reagor.
Where did they get it? I mean, what was his pick? He was late, wasn't he?
He went in the second round.
Was it the second round? Yeah, but Pittsburgh picked pretty late, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they weren't like one of the top 10. They didn't have a top 10 pick.
No, I don't think. I think it was 53.
Yeah,
but we have yet another gadget player in Jalen Reagor. You pick him 21st overall, 21st, 22nd overall in the draft. I haven't seen jack shit from Jalen Reagor. I haven't seen jack shit, except he got hurt. He partially tore his labrum in a non-contact training camp somehow, and then he tears his thumb ligaments. And he scored a 1-yard touchdown or a couple-yard touchdown against Dallas. I thought this guy was a first-round pick. He's supposed to be changing the game. Not doing anything in the run.
All I heard was how fast he is. And if he's so fast, how come you never see it like on end reverses?
I don't get it. I don't get it.
They don't do any end runs. You don't ever see any like flanker screens or try to hit him in the flat, or a slant where he's catching the ball in most.
No, they do those bullshit plays to Greg Ward, who has absolutely no chance of breaking it and taking it to the house.
I mean, like Boston Scott, a guy like him, you get him the ball in space, he could take it to the house.
I know you don't watch every Eagles game religiously like we do because you're a Giants fan, but Boston Scott only plays good against your team.
Oh, is that it? Well,
yeah, he can't. He doesn't. He never does anything against anybody else except the Giants.
Well, he's got 6 touchdowns.
Fans who are exclusively Giants viewers and aren't watching every Eagles game as close as me or some of the other Eagles fans out there.
Okay, yeah. Well, he's got 6 touchdowns against us in 3 games. So I mean, I think we've seen.
Boston Scott has 0% chance of making a play against any other team besides the Giants. I don't even think he should be on the roster. Honestly.
You know what? He looks like Superman against us. I'm sorry. That guy, I sit there. We just cringe when we see him with the ball because because he kills us every time.
But I mean, you look at all these receivers that are hits. Christ, even Denzel Mims, who went after Jalen Hurts at pick 53 to the New York Jets. He's played 2 games, and he has 2 pretty decent games. We watched the game last week, live reaction Monday Night Football. He made plays out there. He separated. We have Jalen.
He did make plays, and he was pretty good last week.
We have Jalen Reagor. We have a gadget player from the Big 12 who I haven't been impressed with one bit. And I like the pick with Reagor when it happened. I didn't hate it. They should have picked Justin Jefferson.
Well, I think everybody felt that way.
But I mean, and you have Ertz is out. Looks like he's gonna be able to come back maybe against the Browns. I mean, Goddard's okay. Like
I hate to say this, but the way your offensive line played against the Giants, what's going to happen against the Browns have a terrific defensive line.
Yeah, they have Myles Garrett. He's probably the defensive player of the year right now. It's going to be a problem.
Yeah. Thank you, Kobe. I appreciate you reminding me. I just mentioned
Kobe Bryant Jr., 24. Boston Scott has 477 yards and 6 touchdowns against the Giants. Everybody,
I knew he had 6 touchdowns.
That means he blows against everybody else. He blows. He stinks.
Okay, well, you can understand why.
You're trying to tell me these guys are good that aren't good, that were just on the team in 2017 or had a good game here and there in a good spot. Like, the talent of this roster is a ginormous joke. And that's all.
As I said, if you take away the names of the players, okay, and you just do the eye test on the Giants and the Eagles in this season, okay?
Anthony Addies, what are you talking about? Someone just posted his stats in the chat. There are stats. Go look them up. He doesn't do anything against anybody else. Why? Because he's number 35 for the Eagles and he's second string to Miles Sanders. He's Walter Payton. Are you out of your mind trying to tell me that Boston Scott is good? He's not good. There's no way he should be a number 2 running back on a contending football team.
He's only Walter Payton against the Giants. That's it.
Well, it's ridiculous. You still have people trying to tell me these guys are good out there on Sundays. Are you guys okay? What are you?
Take away the names, okay? Forget about the name Fletcher Cox. Forget about the name Alshon Jeffrey. Forget about these guys and their names, okay? Look at how they're playing. They've been awful all season. What makes you guys think that all of a sudden they're going to jump up and start winning? I mean, I can't believe how many people yesterday were saying, oh, they're going to win by 2 touchdowns yesterday. I thought the Giants might win that game yesterday. I was convinced they could win the game because you know what? They should have won the first game. They dominated for the most part at the line of scrimmage, and they lost by 1 point because Evan Engram couldn't hold on to a ball that was right in his hands at the 30-yard line with 3 minutes to go, and the Eagles had 1 timeout left. The Giants would have had the ball. They would have run out the clock and kicked the field goal and had themselves a 9-point lead, and then there was no way the Eagles could have caught up. I am
losing it. I am losing it because I still have people trying to tell me that this inferior trash that I've been watching for 10 goddamn weeks is going to turn around and be good and go to the playoffs. Everything's going to be fine.
Yeah, so they're going to turn around.
Bad things happen in Philadelphia. every fucking Sunday. And there's still fans out there that refuse to believe it. There's still fans out there that think Carson Wentz is good. There's still people out there that think Carson Wentz is not the problem. There's still fans out there that think Doug is fine and how he's fine. Like, I don't understand what you're watching. Just because they're your favorite team doesn't mean you can just put a bunch of magic powder on it and they're all of a sudden going to be good. That's not how it works. This team has a soft owner, a bad owner in Jeffrey Lurie, who doesn't hold his head coach or his general manager accountable. You have a GM that doesn't know his ass from his elbow when it comes to drafting players. And Doug has been a bottom tier, bottom third head coach for a year and well over a year and a half in regular season football.
Yeah, this hasn't been this season.
Well over a year and a half. You take 2017 out of the equation, Doug Peterson would be fired at the end of the season. He would be fired. He would lose his job.
I'll tell you what, if the Giants win the division and they don't, and the Eagles come in second, and the Eagles are 5-10-1, that could be a fireable season.
No, Jeffrey Lurie's soft.
No, but I'm just saying that
they'll blame COVID and they'll blame this and the injuries and this, that, and the other.
But every team
they'll run it back, as teams like to say.
Every team has injuries, though. I mean, the Giants lost their top.
You don't have to tell me that. Tell my organization that.
I mean, they lost their quarterback. The Giants lost Barkley. The Cowboys lost Dak. I mean, come on. Every team has critical injuries. It is what it is. That's the NFL. That's the nature of the NFL. It's next guy up. You haven't lost your quarterback, but your quarterback
want to pick quarterbacks and gadget players in the draft instead of taking solid, sensible guys who maybe you miss, maybe you don't hit on everyone, but let's just say they take Denzel Mims, another receiver, at pick 53. And you go with you have Mims and you have Rager with your first round pick. At least you can justify Mims being injured and maybe being a little ineffective this season. Well, we thought he was a good player. He was a severe position in need, so we went receiver. You can justify that to me, and I wouldn't crush you. I'd be mad that you missed on both the picks. But, hey, you need a receiver. You took 2 receivers in the first 2 rounds. Okay, let's give them time. Maybe they can develop. Maybe Carson Wentz, God forbid, he gets his head out of his ass and plays 60 minutes of good football. But you can at least justify that to your fan base and your ownership. You can't justify Jalen Hurts at pick 53. Not if you're trying.
And we've talked about that ad nauseum about what a dumb pick that was. I mean, there was no reason for them to do. They see the guy on New Orleans and they think that everybody can just do that. That
guy's a 1 in a million player.
No, he's a freak, and but that guy he can be a receiver. He can be a running back. I mean, that guy
he can catch the ball. He can throw the ball. He can run the ball. He plays special teams for him. He's physical. He can make tackles.
Rob, he's the
player.
He's the football equivalent of a baseball utility player.
Correct.
He can play
Taysom Hill. We're talking about for those confused. Taysom Hill on the New Orleans Saints.
Yeah, Taysom Hill. But he's big. He's not Jason.
He's ginormous.
Jalen Hurts is a little guy. He's not a big guy. If he starts running around like Taysom Hill does, he'll get broken in too. And as far as you guys saying that the Giants aren't good and this and that, the
Eagles aren't good.
Yeah, you guys want to say that the Giants are. Well, no, you know what? The Giants are not good, but they are an improving young team. Okay, and they are getting better. They're getting better every week. The Eagles have been getting worse every year, and this season, it seems like game by game, they're getting worse and worse. They have 1 win over a starting quarterback this year. The only starting quarterback they've beaten this year is Daniel Jones. When they beat the 49ers, they didn't. Jimmy G wasn't the quarterback that game.
And Nick Mullins was.
No, exactly. And you could see how many wins the 49ers have with Nick Mullins out there. Not too many. And I believe when they beat the Cowboys, they had DiNucci out there. So, I mean, if you look at it, the Eagles have played 9 games and have one win against the starting quarterback.
And let me tell you something. If Gilbert, the guy who played against the Steelers, played game at least, didn't make too many critical mistakes. If that guy plays instead of DiNucci on Sunday Night Football against the Cowboys, the Eagles would have lost that game too.
Yeah, he played a heck of a game.
Ben DiNucci, who shouldn't even be in the same sentence as the NFL. He shouldn't even sniff. He's so bad. He shouldn't even be able to hand out the water and the towels and on the sideline.
He's a semi-pro player.
The Philadelphia Eagles at halftime. It was 9-7.
Yeah, and the Cowboys who were
covered the spread that game is because a miracle defensive touchdown at the end of the game.
And the Cowboys also have had the worst defense in the league going into that game. And the Eagles only scored 23 points against them. And their offense only got 16 points against them.
It's embarrassing. Carson Wentz is embarrassing. It's embarrassing. Carson Wentz should be embarrassed and ashamed of himself, honestly, for the season that he's had. For him to make $100 million and play like this is absolutely unacceptable and embarrassing.
Well, I think Jones outplayed him yesterday.
If Doug Peterson didn't win the Super Bowl in 2017, he'd be fired after the season. If Jim Schwartz would be fired regardless.
That's a problem that happened with the Giants. After the Giants won the second Super Bowl with Coughlin, okay, it was pretty obvious after that the Giants were going downhill. And after Coughlin's second losing season in a row, he should have been fired. Except the Giants went and hung on to him for another year, and then they had another horrible season. And then they went and brought in that retard, what's his name?
McAdope.
And that was the end of the Giants. They went right down. They had their one great season, and then they went right down the tubes after that. So I mean that's the problem. If you hang on to your guys, the problem with the NFL is that you have to draft. NFL is crucial that you draft well because the guys get old in a hurry in the NFL. You got to bring in new talent every year. You've got to replace at least 20% of your roster every year with good young talent. And the Eagles haven't done it. And their good players are getting old. If you look at the Giants, okay, yeah, the Giants have had 3 bad years in a row. And I'm counting this year as a bad year because even if they win the division, they're going to be under 500. So, I mean, come on. If you're under 500, you're a lousy team. It takes time to rebuild, but you got to bring in good young talent every year. And when you've got good players, when you've got a good group of veteran players, they need the young players to push them a little bit. And right now, that's not there for the Eagles. I mean, they still have their good veterans, but you know what? Some of them have declined a little bit. You don't have Malcolm Jenkins anymore, and I think that's a big loss on your defense because your defense kind of looks like, they kind of look like a rudderless ship. I mean, what was stunning is the fact that when the Giants got the ball up 24-17 in the fourth quarter, okay, that's usually when the Giants screw things up. Instead, the Eagles let them get down there and kick another field goal. I mean, the Giants haven't been doing that all season. The Giants have never been able to take the nail and nail down the game. But the Eagles let them do it, and that should tell you something because other than the games against the Redskins, who the Giants always seem to beat the Redskins, they've had their number for God knows that since the 80s. I mean, it seems like the Eagles are just trending in the wrong direction right now. I mean, there's a lot more to it than just Wentz. I think the defense is not good anymore. They're erratic.
Doing a whole segment on Justin Jefferson's touchdown dance on NFL Countdown, Monday Night Countdown, whatever they call it.
Yeah, I have it on.
I wish an Eagles receiver got in the end zone enough for them to do a special on their touchdown dance. God forbid someone steps up and makes a play. Ridiculous.
I mean, look, at this point, they're going to have their hands full with a very dangerous Cleveland Brown team. I mean, even without Odell Beckham, they've still got enough offense to score some points.
Eagles aren't beating the Browns. Eagles aren't beating the Browns next week.
Well, don't think the Giants are going to beat the Browns either, because I don't know that the Giants are going to beat them either.
The Giants are more likely to beat the Browns than the Eagles are.
Yeah, but I wouldn't be too sure that the Giants are going to beat them either. I mean, that's the whole thing about the NFC East. A 1.5 game lead might end up being insurmountable in the East. So as far as the poll goes, I mean, I think the Giants are going to win because I think the Giants will find a way to win at least three games. I would feel very confident if they could win 4 of the last 6. If they were able to go 4-2, and I would say the 2 losses are going to be against the Seahawks and the Ravens. Okay, and
you're not beating the Cardinals. Stop.
Okay, well then probably 3-3. I'm thinking at best maybe they can get lucky in one of those games, and maybe the Cardinals have a bad day. The Cardinals have had a couple of bad games at home. I mean, they were well on their way to a loss until DeAndre Hopkins made that miracle catch yesterday.
Yeah, that was unbelievable.
How about that? 3 guys.
Kyler Murray's a winner, man. He's going to be winning games in this league for a lot of years to come. Kyler Murray is a winner. Kyler Murray is a franchise quarterback. Can't say that about Carson Wentz. Not a franchise quarterback, not a winner.
And if you look at it,
embarrassing and disgusting with him.
You know what made the play? You know what made the play? I mean, Murray was able to run around enough in the backfield to give DeAndre Hopkins enough time to get to the end zone. That was the key, and he didn't throw a real high ball. He threw a laser down there. I mean, he threw a 55-yard laser. I mean, what an arm that kid has. Jeez.
All right, let's get to some comments. Tom Arnone's in the house. He's disgusted. He disagrees with the poll, so I guess he still somehow thinks that this trash hole Philadelphia Eagles football team is going to be playing postseason football. God bless you, Tommy, but they stink. They stink. Carson Wentz, he's not as good as Daniel Jones is right now. He's not as good as Alex Smith is right now. Carson Wentz blows, and I can't see this team.
He's been terrible.
Even one of these tough games over the next 5 with the way Carson Wentz is playing right now. Carson Wentz stinks right now. I know that it's tough for some Eagles fans to hear, but he stinks.
And the Eagles' offensive line,
$100 million and yet to play 60 minutes of good football.
The Eagles' offensive line also stinks, by the way. Let's be honest. Okay, I mean, he's
why you don't pick a quarterback at pick 53. You pick a guy you can.
They should have picked.
You pick a defensive end.
You never have enough defensive ends, and you never have enough good defensive linemen, and you never have enough good offensive linemen.
Know what happened? Know what happened when they did have enough offensive and defensive linemen in 2017?
Yeah, they won the Super Bowl.
Like, hello, Howie. Hello, Earth to Howie.
You have to be good. I
don't understand why this team has to just think they're smarter than everybody else and they just throw the fundamentals of football out the window when they're constructing this roster.
Yeah, well, between that and the 2-point conversions, your team puzzles me quite a bit. The way they
Bill Middlebrook, Brad, I told you a month ago when you were saying how horrible the Giants were that we should be giving them more credit. See you're back with Jersey. Please win the division. I'd rather have a guaranteed top 10 draft pick. Go G-Men. I can't go that far. I'm going to watch the Eagles each and every week and hope.
What kind of a fan are you to want your team to tank? Come on.
Playoffs is always better than no playoffs.
I mean, listen, if you're going to be 1-15, if you're going to be the Jets, okay, then you might as well tank because they're hopeless, okay? But you know what? I don't want my improving young football team to tank. I want my improving young football team to end this year playing real well, and even if they don't win the division, show that they're just this much away from being a good team because that's really about it. I mean, they just have to learn how to win some games. You know what? Next year, they'll have Barkley back. Hopefully, in the draft, they'll go out and they'll get themselves a speedy wide receiver to go with these other guys, and I think they'll be okay.
Anthony Sakota, I hope the Giants do win the division. I hope they lose outright the rest of their games. Maybe then Laurie will fire people and make changes. They don't do anything in the playoffs anyway. They have 0 shot to win in the playoffs. I am not excited for the draft pick because if Howie's still the GM, will throw the pick in the trash. Guess what? Jeffrey Lurie is not doing anything this offseason when it comes to personnel. I'd be shocked if anybody got fired because Jeffrey Lurie sucks. He's a poor owner. Jeffrey Lurie is a poor, soft owner who doesn't hold the people in charge of his football team accountable for their shortcomings.
Rob, if they go 4-11,
So anti-Philadelphia, it's scary.
If they go 4-11-1, I mean, you seriously have to consider.
Nothing's going to happen, Brad. Nothing's going to happen.
I don't know. I mean, that's
the injuries and Howie will get up and talk a bunch of bullshit about this, that, and the other, about how they have to do better. It's a mess right now. I don't understand how you can look at this team and tell me that they're going to the playoffs. I don't understand. If the Eagles played the Vikings next week on a neutral field, who would be favored?
The Vikings.
If the Eagles played the Bears on a neutral field next week, who would be favored?
The Bears would be favored. Absolutely.
Okay. Those I didn't really name like the Chiefs or the Steelers right there.
Well, that wouldn't be fair. They're the best teams in the league right now.
I'm not just saying. I didn't name an elite team. I named middling, averaging teams that the Philadelphia Eagles would have no chance of beating right now. Zero. None. Tom Arnaud, we stink, but any given Sunday. I mean, if you want to give them a puncher's chance in Cleveland, I can go along with that. But Green Bay, forget about it. New Orleans, even if Jameis Winston's playing, they have no chance against New Orleans. You're not beating Arizona, and you're not beating Green Bay. So if you want to go ahead and give them a puncher's chance against Cleveland, I can get on board with that. They might beat the Browns next week. They really might. Baker's not great. Browns aren't great. I am worried about that pass rush of Myles Garrett with an offensive line that's really just not that good. But maybe next Sunday can be any given Sunday. But the four after that, the Eagles have 0% chance of winning those football games.
Well, I mean, you still have to face Kareem Hunt next week, and he's a pretty good running back.
Chubb is back as well.
Chubb is back.
100 yards rushing. First game in 6 weeks.
I know the Houston Texans aren't a great team, but they still they held the Houston Texans to 7 points. I mean, geez.
Don 19 thinks the Bears are going to win tonight. Don, I strongly disagree. We're about 2 minutes into this game. My money's in on the Vikings. I think the Vikings have a chance. We talked about it last week, Brad, that I think the Vikings have a chance to make a run here at the 7th wild card spot on the legs of Dalvin Cook.
Oh, I absolutely agree with you. I mean, the Vikings are built to be able to win on the road. That's the whole thing. When you have a good running game and a good defense, you can win games on the road. You know, it's when you rely too much on the pass, that's when you have trouble on the road. And they're not your typical dome team. So going into chilly Chicago should not be a problem with this team. And and
Kirk Cousins. I also took Kirk Cousins over 222 passing yards. That's a really low number. I realize Kirk Cousins 222 yards passing. That's nothing in today's NFL. That should be easy.
You know what? Minnesota is going to run the ball a lot, though.
And I have Adam Thielen, Justin Jefferson, and Dalvin Cook. I have the over on their receptions total. There's Dalvin Cook. He's not going to be able to bust that one outside. It's going to be second down. Vikings are driving. We'll keep you updated. We're going to get back to some of these comments, though. Anthony Adis, I don't blame Wentz because the O-line is terrible, and is Doug telling him to stay in the pocket? Well, Anthony, first off, Carson Wentz changed the play at the line of scrimmage a lot. If you want to put that on Doug for calling it a bad initial play, okay, I guess that's fair. But Carson Wentz needs to have less freedom at the line of scrimmage right now, at least right now. Because for him to be barking out orders like he's Peyton Manning or Tom Brady at the line of scrimmage every goddamn play, he's just not good enough to be doing that. He needs to focus on doing what Doug tells him to do and follow the offense and not turn the ball over.
Yeah, turnovers are going to be key when they're playing teams that are that have better records than them. I mean, you can, especially in Cleveland. I mean, they're going to have to win the battle of turnovers against Cleveland. If they start turning the ball over in that ballpark against that team, they're going to get crushed.
The A2D radio, Wentz played okay. He wasn't great. He wasn't terrible, just meh. But, for $100 million, I need better than just meh, especially against a bad team like the Giants. In a game you really gotta have. You gotta have it. You win that game yesterday, Brad. You have the division.
You're locked in. Yeah, you're locked.
You're locked in.
Division. Now
you go 0-5 over this tough stretch, and you're still gonna win the division.
Yeah, you just basically invited the Giants to the party by losing that game, and don't think the Giants aren't going to be pumped up now. I mean, they were acting like
they haven't beat the Eagles in a very long time.
Since 2016.
A lot of the games, relatively speaking, Brad, have been embarrassing losses. Like the Eagles have really had their number. You had the 61.
Yeah, they've had a lot of
17, which I'm sure stung.
They've had a lot of crushing losses against the Eagles. I mean, they've lost a lot of close games against them.
And then you have the miracle at the Meadowlands, 1, 2, and 3. Like the Eagles have stung the Giants a lot.
Well, listen, the Westbrook punt return, the blocked field goal that the Giants block a field goal and the Eagles grab it and run it in for a touchdown. The fumble with Edwards. I mean, they've had a lot of crazy games that they've lost to the Eagles. So, I mean,
is that a fumble right there? No, I don't think that's a fumble. We'll see what they say. Phil Middlebrook echoing the same thing I just said about Carson Wentz. Wentz changed the play 90% of the time.
It was down.
Said those plays were on Carson. Carson can't read the field. I mean, you're paying a guy $100 million who can't read a defense. I'm so out on Carson Wentz right now. It's just ridiculous. I don't understand how a $100 million quarterback can be in week 10 and not giving you 60 minutes of – I don't even want to say great football because I don't even think he's that good enough to give you 60 minutes of great football. He can't even give you above average 60 minutes of football.
He gives you one real good quarter a day, it seems like. But, I mean, it wasn't all on him yesterday. I mean, listen, the Giants came out yesterday and they took an immediate 7-0 lead on the first drive. So, I mean, and then you guys got the ball and you kicked the field goal. I mean, it was almost like that was so quick, it was ridiculous. And then all of a sudden it's 14-3.
I got to go back to Max Kellerman's comments this morning on ESPN First Take. Probably the biggest Carson Wentz hater on the face of the earth. He said you pay a quarterback $100 million not to be one of the problems of your football team. You pay him to cover up other problems on your football team. And Carson Wentz just doesn't do that. He doesn't. It's been 10 years.
Right now, he's a bottom 10. Right now, he is a bottom 10 quarterback.
That might even be generous, Brad.
Yeah, he is right now. I mean, listen, the whole NFC East is bottom 10. There's no team out of the bottom 10. I mean, if you go from, what are there, 32 teams in the league? There's not one team in there that I would say is over 20, is better than 22. I'm not so sure there's any that are better than 25 right now. I
mean, Bowser, ASMR, he says Howie and Jim need to go. I mean,
yeah, they need to. They're going to listen at the end.
That's fine, but I mean, Carson and Doug, they deserve just as much blame as those two, in my opinion.
Yeah, they're going to need to make some moves at the end of the season because this team is definitely trending in the wrong direction. Somebody has to go. There's got to be some heads rolling on that team, most definitely. Yeah, I'm looking at this play, and that's not a fumble. It's the ball. His knee is down.
I would agree with you.
Yeah, his knee was down, and then they knocked the ball out of his hand.
Oh, they're reviewing it. I thought they reviewed it already on the commercial.
They're ruling on the field though was a fumble, so it will probably be they'll probably won't change it because they don't like to change things even though they're blatantly obvious. Yep, they play calls a stand. So as I said, even if it's obvious, they don't change the call. So
Kobe Bryant Jr. 24. I've never seen a team be this bad, but we're going to pick things up. I know we're gonna lose because of our problems. I don't even know. That's problem.
They're just not that good anymore. I mean, I don't know how many
times. What do you mean
times
they're going to pick things up? What does that mean?
Pick things up. How are they going to pick things up when they're playing against teams that are better than them?
Where is the evidence to back up that take?
I don't know. You just lost to the Giants for crying out loud. You lost to the the football team. You lost.
Like I know I'm like hot take drink sometimes, and I freak out like I was earlier in the show. And sometimes I'll say make a bold prediction to, stir the pot, cause a stir, get people riled up, what have you. But my takes are evidence based. Even the ones that turn out bad, I can look back and tell you why I thought that, give you reasons A, B, and C on why I thought what I thought was going to happen.
I think that the rose-colored sunglasses need to come off, and you need to watch this team and try to take your emotions out of it. And
Brad, look at the Jets this year. We both thought the Jets were going to have a pretty good season. We saw Sam Darnold be healthy.
I thought that they would be good. I didn't think they'd be bad. But
Jets win the NFC East. I'll wear that. I said it was going to happen. They stink. I look like a big dumb moron. But
yeah, I said they'd make the wild card. So I'm just
Sam Darnold healthy last year. The Jets were 6-3 in the 9 games he started. They added 3 starting offensive linemen. I thought Le'Veon Bell was not going to be a crumb, but he's a crumb. And
Nick Foles just threw a interception. By the way. So you guys at the Folesian Society can see that and understand he wouldn't have done any better. They're a blah team right now.
Anthony Addis, I mean, he's lost with some of his comments tonight. I love Anthony. He tuned into a lot of the shows here on ATD. He's a great fan. But Anthony, you got to re-examine how you're watching football, my man. You're really struggling tonight. If Wentz got a good coach like Jim Harbaugh, who isn't a good coach, or a vet coach.
I think you mean John Harbaugh. Jim is the one at Michigan. You're probably talking
about. What he said. That's what he said in his comment. Jim Harbaugh.
I know, but I think he probably meant John.
I don't know about that because Jim Harbaugh sounds like he wants to come back to the NFL. And why would John Harbaugh leave Baltimore?
Why would you want Jim Harbaugh?
I don't want Jim Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh is terrible. I don't think he's a good coach at all.
Listen, he did a
quarterback. Yeah, you can't recruit a quarterback. You can't coach a quarterback. You can't do anything offense or quarterback related as a head coach. So Jim Harbaugh stinks as a head coach, Anthony.
He was pretty good when he was with the 49ers, but the 49ers had a great defense too.
They flamed out hard. They play to his strengths. What are Carson Wentz's strengths this season? Get a coach that's going to play to Carson Wentz's strengths. What are his strengths?
Well, I think he'd be better if he was moving around in the pocket a little bit. If they
scared,
huh?
He's gun shy,
huh?
He's gun shy.
I think he would be better off if he was moving around a little bit instead of sitting in the pocket all the time. I mean, he's kind of looking like Eli did when Eli was really old and couldn't move anymore. That's
and then Anthony wants to bring in a coaching staff that eats, lives, and breathes football inside and out. I don't think Doug doesn't like football. I don't think Jim Schwartz doesn't like football. I mean, they've made their whole lives out of football.
It's not about that.
They're just not good coaches. They're not good coaches.
Yeah, they're not. Their scheme.
Maybe Doug would be good if he was just the offensive coordinator. Or you give Doug a position to coach, like quarterback, because he was a quarterback, and he was a backup to Dan Marino and Brett Favre. So 2 of the top 10 quarterbacks of all time, he got a front row seat to every day. Maybe if you just give him a position, and maybe then he would be good. But I don't even know if he'd be good at that. I really don't. So, I mean, Kobe Bryant Jr., 24. The bye hurt us. That's why the Giants were getting down the field. Our defense always steps up.
Wait a minute. You know what? I'm not going to buy that because when Andy Reid was here, okay, what was the Eagles' record in the bye?
Big time.
Okay, so stop blaming the bye.
Win percentage.
Come on. The Giant. That's just silly. You had all your guys back, and you guys were talking a lot of crap, and you played like crap. That's the bottom line. The Eagles just aren't playing good football right now. And I mean, you can look at the back of their football cards and say, okay, there's some talent there, but if you do the eye test and you just watch them play and you don't pay attention to what the names of the players are, you're sitting there saying, oh my God, they stink.
Anthony, the players are depressed because Doug took away ice cream. I mean, what are we in, third grade?
The players are depressed because he took away ice cream.
Well, yeah, Doug eats ice cream a lot. It was like his calling card in 2017.
Oh, so they took the ice cream away.
So they don't eat ice cream anymore, so they suck. Bill Middlebrook, why would any fan that has a clue even want them to win now? I'll take guaranteed top 10 pick all day. Okay, Bill. First off,
why would you do that?
First off, you don't build in the NFL by tanking. You're just, especially a clueless GM like Howie Roseman, he's got just as good a chance to pick an All-Pro in the 5th round than he does in the top 10. It's not the NBA. Like, basketball is different than football. You know if you're going to be the first pick in the NBA draft when you're in 6th grade. The scouts know. Football, not so much. Guys slip through the cracks. Guys get injured. Guys have behavior problems.
By the way,
how good is guys? There's D2.
Chase Young, how good has Chase Young looked this year?
He's looked phenomenal
at times, and he hasn't looked so great at other times. He lost the game yesterday for the Redskins. I mean, he's the one that made that late hit on Stafford and gave the Lions a chance to kick a 59-yard field goal to win the game. I mean, he lost the game for the Redskins yesterday. Excuse me, the football team. My bad.
But even despite the Eagles are down and out right now, and I don't think they have a chance in hell to win any of these next 5 games. They're going to be underdogs in all of them, and for good reason. I'm still going to watch.
But everybody will be watching, and that's what we do as fans.
And I hope they go to the playoffs. Now, I don't think they have a snowball's chance in hell in beating the Tampa. I think they're going to have to play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers or the New Orleans Saints in the first round of the playoffs. Maybe Seattle. That's touchdown for Adam Thielen.
Adam Thielen scores.
Adam Thielen, Kirk Cousins. That's good. I haven't picked very many winners the last 3 weeks, so it'd be nice to.
Well, the way the Vikings have been playing lately, the Vikings have been red hot, and the Bears have been not red hot. The Bears are not playing good football, and the guy who was guarding Thielen never even got turned around. He just basically face guarded him and put his hand up in the air.
And that does appear to be a catch.
That's definitely a catch. The ball never hit the ground, and his back was there. So the Vikings get on the board early, and
Daniel Jones, Daniel J.P. McKernery. Daniel Jones is dangerous. They're going to be a problem in the NFC East for a while. There after last week, I can tell you that. I mean, I think the Giants are going to have the potential to really take this big win and run with it a little bit here.
Well, what I like is that what the Giants are doing with Daniel Jones is they are putting him in a position to play good football. I mean, I thought he played a good game against Tampa Bay too. I mean, the Giants almost beat Tampa Bay, guys. I mean, the Giants have really lost some close games.
He needs to take the next step and start making some wow plays and not just playing the game.
He needs to make
it up, so it's fine.
I thought last week, this past game, the pass to Slayton that put the Giants in field goal range to give them the 10-point lead in the fourth quarter, that was really the first really big play he's made in the fourth quarter to win a game. And you know what? That's where it's, hopefully for him, that's where it starts.
But, I mean, realistically, Brad, you're going to pick up another half game next week by just sitting on your ass on the bye week because the Eagles are probably going to lose to the Browns next week.
Well, there's a very good chance that that's going to happen. And if that does happen, then then it becomes a situation where the Giants are going to Cincinnati while you guys are going to be playing. Who do you play in 2 weeks?
I think we have the Packers.
So the Giants are going to be in Cincinnati, and you're going to be playing the
Saints. Could be the Saints at home, but I think we're at the Packers.
Well, either way, those are that's not a very good alternative. I mean,
this bye week comes at an awful time for your Giants. By the way, I'd want to be playing next week, and
you know what? I think it doesn't because Zeitler had a concussion yesterday, and Slayton hurt his ankle. So I don't think it's such a bad thing for them to get some rest. I think some of these guys are banged up. So it won't be a horrible thing. And you know what? I think Devontae Freeman will probably be back for the game against the Bengals, just to get some of these guys healthy a little bit. Won't hurt the Giants. But the Giants, to me, look like they finally have an identity, and their identity is to run the football, and they've got guys who can run the football. Their offensive line has done real well run blocking lately, and they've developed themselves a nice little ground game. And Wayne Gallman's been a beast. Daniel Jones, by the way, has been leading the team in rushing all season, and he's continued to
excellent athlete. He's an excellent athlete.
Yeah, he is. I mean, and that's where they have to the Giants kind of have to treat him as a poor man's Lamar Jackson. And if they kind of play him like that, he can be very, very effective because he's very fast, and he's pretty good at this. He's pretty good with the short pass. He has to develop the long pass a little better. But I mean, I think he also needs to get some receivers who have some speed out there too. That would really help because they miss that Beckham explosion factor for sure. And not having Barkley, of course, they don't have that guy who can take it to the house on one play. I mean, Jones really is the best runner on the team right now.
I mean, yeah, I think Devontae Freeman's a little better runner than Jones when he's healthy.
Yeah, he is.
Wayne Gallman is, all due respect, Wayne Gallman is not a premier player in this league.
No, but he's been playing his ass off the last couple of weeks, though.
Prism 280, rebuilding half the team, players and coaches, possibly offensive line. That's why I said in the midst of rebuild, and the Eagles should start now and catch up. Dallas has offensive skill players only. Yeah, but what do you think? I mean, Dallas is probably, realistically, I think Dallas might be the closest to making a few tweaks to their team this offseason and being a legitimate contender.
Well, when they get Dak back. They'll get Dak back next season. They draft themselves a couple of
cheap. They're going to make him sign a prove-it deal, and they're going to have a high draft pick. And I don't like Stephen Jones, and I hate the Cowboys, but Stephen Jones has done a much better job than his father at drafting talent.
Yeah, they'll get some decent defensive players in there.
So, if you want to look at the teams that are rebuilding in the NFC East, Dallas is the closest to being a legit contender. I don't even know how anybody can argue that because the Eagles are nowhere close. I guess maybe the Giants would be second, but I mean, I need to see more from Daniel Jones for me to say that the Giants can make a few tweaks and be contenders.
Well, the Giants are just about there defensively. I think maybe one really, really good pass rusher. If you could add that premier pass rusher to this team defensively, I think they'd be there defensively because they've gotten a lot of takeaways this year, and their defense has been good. There's no question about that. They've stopped some of the best teams in the league. I mean, they did a nice job against Brady. They played well against Pittsburgh. The only game that they were bad in was the 49er game because the 49ers ran them over.
Yeah, they got trounced.
Yeah, no, they got run over.
Kobe Bryant Jr. 224. We have to believe in Wentz. I still don't blame him. We have Samalu coming back next week for our O-line, and Ertz hopefully will be back. But Doug's play calling killed us. We will be better. I don't understand what Kobe Bryant Jr. 24 is watching. I don't get it. Where is the evidence to back up your take that the Eagles are going to get better and win games down the stretch where they're not going to be anywhere close to favored in? Even the games they have at home. Where is your evidence? You want to blame Doug's coaching? That's fine. I don't think he's a very good coach. I've been saying he's not a good coach for the past year and a half. But, I mean, I'm not crazy when I watch the game every Sunday. Doug Peterson calls in the play. Carson Wentz rushes to the line and calls a whole bunch of audibles and changes the play. So is Doug's play calling really that bad, or can Carson not read the field? Is Carson Wentz a one-hit wonder? Was 2017, is that it? Is that it for him? That's what we get. Now we're just
I think the injuries have played a large part of that, though, Rob.
Milli Vanilli of the NFL, a one-hit wonder.
Yeah, I mean, again, the injuries
Each game, I wonder when this guy is going to get his head out of his ass, start playing like $100 million player. And each and every week, I wait for him to play 60 minutes of good football, and it hasn't even come close to happening yet. Has Carson Wentz even played a half of good football this season? A half? 30 minutes?
Against the Ravens.
30 minutes from my $100 million quarterback? I have serious questions whether this guy's the franchise quarterback here. I think it's a shame, too, because deep down, you can't be that good in 2017 and then just suck. Can you?
Oh, Rob, the injuries have had a lot of. I think they've had a lot to do with it. I mean, I don't know how you can not think that. I mean, the guy's knee was mashed potatoes after that game against the Rams. Then he comes back. He has a broken bone in his back. I mean, he doesn't look like he's very mobile anymore. I think that's the big problem.
I agree with that.
And that the Bears, by the way, are threatening as Foles threw a bomb to
Robinson. Well, the problem with the Bears, and one of the reasons I like him so much tonight, is David Montgomery, who looks like a pretty good player, the Bears starting running back out of Iowa State. I believe it's his second year in the league. He's out tonight with a concussion. So I predict that Foles will be able to play 60 minutes of football, good football, without the balance of David Montgomery and a solid running game. Because right now they have Cordell Patterson, who is a receiving specialist, as their primary running back. Because
and there was a terrible pass.
Tariq Cohen, he can't play either. He's been injured as well.
Yeah, and Foles just overthrew a receiver in the right corner, right by the.
He's open too.
Yeah, he was. He overthrew it by a mile. I mean,
I don't think Carson Wentz would have made that throw either.
No, I mean Aaron Rodgers would have, but that was.
So J.P. McInerney says, I'm a fake fan by saying we have zero chance. We always got some type of chance. Stop being a negative Nancy. You think you know everything, bro. Nothing is given in the NFL. 5-0, JP. I hope they go 5-0. But like I said, where is your evidence? Show me your evidence. Prove to me, beyond a reasonable doubt, the Eagles have a 20% chance in any of these games coming up.
I think the Giants have a 20% chance in all of these games, maybe more. I think they have a chance
of beating Seattle. The Giants have a better chance of beating Seattle and Arizona. Both the common opponents that the Eagles and Giants have going forward.
Right, and I think they have.
And the Browns. The Browns are a common opponent as well.
Do you not think the Giants can't beat the Bengals? Because I think they can definitely beat the Bengals.
Eagles only tied the Bengals. Yeah, I think the Giants can beat the Bengals.
I think the Giants are going to beat the Bengals. You know, I think by the time the Giants finish playing football in their next game, I think they're going to be in first place.
Ertz always does better when he comes back from injury or when he plays through them, but our D-line and linebackers are made for that Browns running attack. Honestly, also their left tackle is.
Linebackers are made for. Your linebackers aren't made for anything. Your linebackers.
Our linebackers couldn't stop a middle school team.
Your linebackers are terrible. I don't know what some of these guys are watching.
Alex Singleton starts at running at linebacker for the Eagles. Alex Singleton, and you think they're suited to stop Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb?
You look at the Giants defense.
Do these people watch the same games as me?
We have Martinez sitting in the middle of our defense. Okay, the guy is literally a tackling machine. Okay, and you're talking about your linebackers being good. None of your linebackers are even close to being as good as our linebackers. That's not even close right now.
I don't understand what some of these Eagles fans watch. But if you want to fight the good fight and say they're going to win every game and any given Sunday, that's great.
You just have to be realistic. You have to be realistic. I mean,
what evidence do you have that Zach Ertz is capable of having a good game this season? His head has been up his ass since before the season even started because of his contracts left.
Zach Ertz, for whatever reason, Zach Ertz, for whatever reason this year hasn't been himself. I don't know if it's the injuries and the age are catching up with him, or
the face,
or if it's just the head case. I don't know.
2 years left on your contract, bro. You play at the caliber you've been playing over the next 2 seasons. I'll be happy to pay you like George Kittle and Travis Kelce. But you ain't getting Travis Kelce and George Kittle money with 2 years left on your contract. What business sense does that make? I mean, this guy went to Stanford. Like, what is he talking about? He wants all this money with 2 years left on his contract?
Yeah, the Eagles are under no obligation to pay him.
None. Zero.
I mean, if he wants to hold out.
Dallas Goedert right behind him that I think is a better all-around football player than Zach Ertz.
If he wants to sit out next year and hold out.
Go ahead, sit out. If it comes to that, I would tell him and his agent you have permission to seek a trade.
Yeah, I mean that's what very well could happen. I mean, but the thing is, he's been so not good over this season. They're not going to get anything for him, and nobody's going to give him any money when he's not playing well.
JP, dope. You read the people's comments of people that agree with you, and the ones I've read. First off, you haven't agreed with me in one of your comments. I've read every single one of them. So JP, you're fake news. It's fake news what you're saying. I don't ignore comments. I do my best to read each and every comment that runs through because we're for the fans, by the fans. And to say I've read 4 comments where you vehemently disagree with me, so you're fake news. And you don't know anything about football. So suck on that. Now I'm not going to read any more of your bullshit comments. How about that? Fucking working me up tonight. These apologists. These Eagles sunglasses apologists. Riling me up.
Just be realistic, guys. Come on. I mean, you know what? We Giant fans are realistic. We know what we have. Okay? We're not all that good. We know that. But you know what? We'll take a couple of wins. Hopefully we can win the division. You know what? We're going to do our best. We're looking a little better. We know we stink, though. It's not. That's not news. And you know what? The Eagles right now are right down in our basement right now. You opened up the door. You stepped in. So you know you want to step out. Start making some big plays. Start winning some games. Show somebody something.
Carson needs to move around. Our line isn't that good. And how about a screen pass?
Well, part of the problem there is that Miles Sanders doesn't.
They run screen passes to Greg Ward, who is a 5th receiver on a contending team. And I would if I was a defensive coordinator against the Eagles, and that's all you want to do is throw a bubble screen to Greg Ward, do 3 or 4 to him. I think Greg Ward had 3 catches. They were all bubble screens yesterday. If I'm a defensive coordinator, that's what you want to run, Doug? That's what Carson wants to check to? Okay, we'll give you that all day. How about a bubble screen to Rager or Miles Sanders, someone who can actually –
Yeah, but the problem with Miles Sanders is Miles Sanders can't catch. Miles Sanders, his hand's of stone right now.
I mean, he's overrated by the fan base as well. He's a good player. He's
a good player, but you know what? He's kind of a Jordan Howard type player, Rob. He when he's out there, you know he's going to run the ball. You really don't have to defend him for very far down the field. I mean, the only way he's going to catch a pass is if it's a screen pass or a very, very short pass because he just doesn't have the hands. And that's a problem because in today's NFL, you need your receivers to catch the ball.
Can't really argue with that.
You know, I mean, you have to have receivers that are
vastly overrated by our fan base.
You need running backs who are dual threats. And
is Miles Sanders the top 10 running back in the league?
No,
not even close.
No,
not even close.
No, are you going to put him? Are you going to talk about him with Dalvin Cook?
No.
Breath, or
Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry. No.
Kamara.
No. I mean, or you know, there. Excuse me, or Zeke or some of these other guys. No.
It's a mess right now. It really is.
You know what? The whole division's a mess.
Bill Middlebrook. If Doug gets fired, will he ever coach in the NFL again? Probably not. Coach Bill.
Yeah, he will. Somebody will give him a shot because
I don't know. I don't know about that, Brad.
Now, Mike McFly has just made a comment, and you know what? Mike McFly, good for you. You know what? You're at least we have somebody here who gets it and understands that the Eagles could be 2-3 in their next 5. That's at best. Probably 0-5 is most likely. Now there's somebody who gets it. Yeah, they could go 2-3. You never know. You know, go out there and play good football and don't turn the ball over. You might win some of these games, but I got to be honest with you. Unless the Eagles are a +3 or a +4 in turnovers against the Packers and Saints and Seattle, they're not going to win.
Well,
it's not. I mean, listen, as bad as Carson Wentz, as bad as Seattle's defense is, okay, the Eagles are not offensively good enough to take full advantage of that right now.
No, not even close.
That's the problem. The Packers don't have a great defense either, but the Eagles' offense isn't good enough to take advantage of that. You know, maybe the Tampa Bay Buccaneers could take advantage of those teams in the playoffs, yes. But right now, the way the Eagles are playing, they're not going to take advantage of that.
I love watching Justin Jefferson play. I can't believe he picked Jalen Reagor. I can't believe that. It's just malpractice.
Take a look at this catch that he made, and take a look at.
I don't understand how you can watch any type of film and be any type of an educated football fan and tell me that Jalen Reagor over Justin Jefferson was a smart thing to do. I don't understand.
No. He's already got 2 catches for 29 yards, and the game is 1 quarter old. And now here's Cook getting nailed behind the line, and that Bear defense is still a very good defense. That's for sure. But the Vikings, nonetheless, are driving again up 7-3.
Well, Brad, moving on to like the rest of the NFL, because I can't talk about the Eagles anymore. Bob Brinkman, another valid point. When you go 0 for 9 on third down, there's plenty of blame to go around. 0 for 9 on third down? You have a $100 million quarterback, you go 0 for 9 on third down?
And against the Giants?
Are you kidding me?
I mean, we're an improving team. We're an improving defense, but we're not there yet.
And it seems like the cute in vogue thing to do is to make a list of everyone's whose fault it is except for Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz, to me, is at least the second biggest problem on this team. At least the second biggest problem.
Yeah, I would agree with you. He's not the first.
He might be the biggest, honestly. But I think the first number one problem with this team is the general manager because you put together a bad roster. But I don't really know who to blame between Carson and Doug. Who's worse? Because Carson changes the play all the time.
By the way, Sports Radio WIP has just given a report that James Harden's top 2 trade destinations are the Brooklyn Nets and the Philadelphia 76ers.
Let's digest that a little because I'm excited for this NBA offseason. The draft's on Wednesday.
I'm sorry I wanted to change the subject, but you just mentioned it, so you know what? James Harden. Now let's just think about the beard in Philly and then the beard in Brooklyn, and think about this. If somehow the Sixers were able to get the beard without giving up Ben or Embiid, that could put them over the top. I know you guys are all trashing them and this and that and the other thing, but you know what? You first of all, you have Doc Rivers here now, who is a good defensive coach, and he will get the most out of everybody. Okay, you put him with those 2 guys. I mean, they're going to be impossible to beat.
I mean, I hear you.
Impossible. I mean, Ben doesn't have to score. Ben can just bring the ball up the court, and if he can get to the basket, fine. If not, he just give the ball to Harden and let Harden do his magic. In the closing minutes of a game, you have a legitimate guy who can go out there and score at will. I mean, I know that you guys are down on James Harden, but you know what? James Harden hasn't really had enough help on that team. He's had some good players, but not the players the caliber Not a guy of Embiid. My God,
I couldn't hand pick a better player to play next to Ben Simmons in the backcourt than James Harden.
I mean, he would take all the
perfect fit, and I think it would really work.
Rob, he would take all.
The only thing I'm not buying. First off, Brooklyn has way more assets to give up for James Harden. So I think if they do trade him, he is going to go to Brooklyn or some mystery team. I don't understand how you get James Harden in Philadelphia without giving up Joel Embiid or Ben Simmons.
I'm Rob. I'm playing devil's advocate. Okay?
I understand
I don't that either, but if God forbid you could figure it out, okay? I mean, that would be boy, oh boy.
Like Matisse Thybulle, Josh Richardson for I'm just not buying that. Just like I'm not buying the Buddy Hield stuff for Al Horford. I'm just not buying it. They can get way more for James Harden. The Kings can get way more for.
Thing is, though, you're talking about if Houston really wants to move him, and let's just say for the sake of argument, okay, Houston wants to move him, and they want to get some guys back who are young and that they're cheaper, and they want to start rebuilding. Maybe they realize that all the moves that they made with Harden just aren't going to work. They get rid of him. They try to get real bad. They get a couple of 6th or first round picks thrown in there. Maybe they get a couple of their younger players who they may actually like some of their younger players. Maybe Shake Milton is one of them. I mean, I don't know I don't know the team as well as you do.
True.
So it's hard for me to digest that. But maybe if you can get that combination and go out and bring a guy. Now they're going to have to give up a guy like Horford. Horford would have to be part of the deal just to
why
make.
Why would the Rockets want Horford?
Well, they're going to. It's not that they want him. They would have to get somebody who's making some money because the Sixers cannot fit Harden into their salary cap unless they get rid of one of their high-priced players. I mean, maybe it's one of the other high-priced players.
If I'm the Sixers and I'm Daryl Morey, Embiid, Harden, done deal.
I would be fully listening. On the other hand, and you and I talked about this before the show, the Brooklyn beard, that would be an interesting one. Yeah, it would be interesting to see Kyrie and Harden fighting to see who gets the ball all the time. And as you said, can Durant be the adult in the room and make sure that these two guys are sharing the ball enough? Because I'll tell you what,
Durant's not a leader like that. James Harden would have to be the adult in the room and either take less touches or somehow convince Kyrie Irving to not be selfish with the ball in his hands.
Well, that's the whole thing. If these guys truly want to win a championship, there's no debating that those two, if they could learn to play together and share the ball a little bit for the good of the team, there's no doubt that team could be a championship contender if that happened.
But getting back, if you do what I want them to do and trade Joel Embiid straight up for James Harden, how can you argue that the Sixers aren't closer to a championship with a backcourt of Ben Simmons and James Harden? Horford starts at center, and Richardson and Tobias Harris are your forwards. You would still have Matisse and Shake Milton off the bench. You still have the 21st pick in the draft, which I think you're going to be able to get a good player at the 21st pick in the draft. I don't think this is a good draft necessarily. Draft in the lottery. But there are going to be some good, talented, established collegiate talents at picks 15 through 30. I really do.
That would work for Philly because I do think if you let Horford just be the starting center and just let him go out there, play defense and rebound.
Just tell him to set screen.
Might work. That might work. Although I have to be honest with you though. I mean, if you could somehow, some way figure out a way to get him in here and keep Ben and JoJo, boy, that'd be some team.
I just don't see how you do it. I just don't see how.
I don't either. I'm not that knowledgeable.
The Sixers past Embiid and Simmons aren't good. I don't see much there.
No, and Brooklyn, I mean, Brooklyn could easily do that because all they'd have to do is.
Brooklyn can sign and trade Joe Harris, put him in the deal. They can give
Dinwiddie,
Levert. They can give up Levert. They can give up Spencer Dinwiddie. They have guys they can give up that are much more attractive pieces and won't cause
and a first-round pick because they had an awful record last year. I mean,
they have the 19th pick. The Sixers have the 21st pick.
The Nets have the 19th pick?
Yeah, the Nets made playoffs.
Yeah, but they were way under 500 though. Weren't they the 8th?
Yeah, but I think there's trades that have happened, and they have.
Oh, okay. All right.
I don't even think it's their first-round pick. I think it's the Celtics' first-round pick.
Oh, all right.
The 14th pick somehow.
All right, somehow, yes, because somehow, okay. Yeah, that would be that's an interesting.
I don't understand. You can't. There's not any way you can slice it because Horford and Tobias Harris are immovable. Tobias Harris is
the one I was thinking might be the one that might make that situation work.
You can pull him off on the Rockets to get James Harden here, and the Rockets are that stupid and that desperate to just restart because it sounds like Russell Westbrook's going to get traded to your Knicks within the next 24 hours.
From your mouth to God's ears, that would be huge.
So,
I mean, listen, if Houston is trading Westbrook and then they're going to trade Harden, they want to start all over again. But they're going to.
They don't have a coach. I mean, they lost Morey to the Sixers. Their genius player personnel guy, and let's face it, the Rockets have been kind of doing the same thing for the past 5 years, and they haven't won anything.
Right. So it's time for them to start.
Maybe it's time to rethink things there. One trade that has been official, Brad, is Chris Paul goes from the Phoenix Suns to the Phoenix Suns from the Oklahoma City Thunder. And you know how I feel about Chris Paul. I think he's just straight.
I know you don't like him. I was kind of hoping that the Knicks could try to get him.
That's an excellent trade for the Phoenix Suns because you have Chris Paul, you have DeAndre Ayton underneath, and you have Devin Booker on the wing. That sounds like a playoff team to me, even in the West.
Yeah, that'll improve that team. And you know what? A veteran with all those young players, he'd fit in. I kind of wanted to see him go to the Knicks because I thought, with all the young players the Knicks have, to put him out there would definitely be a positive. He would have been a positive, but. Listen, if the Knicks can pull off the deal with Houston, I'm all for it. How can you not be? I mean, it would instantly improve the team. They're going to have all kinds of cap space next year as well. He can, they can get another star. It's getting the one guy down there that's going to be the key. That's the hard part. Is getting the first guy. Once you get one guy. Then you can start getting another guy in there. Yeah. Hopefully then you can build yourself a nice team.
Yeah, JP McFerrin, he's still on I'm a fake fan, according to JP. Fake news, JP McEarney. Because I have a long sleeve Eagles shirt pinned up behind me. First off, it's not a sleeve, it's a curtain. I have a Brian Westbrook signed picture right over there. There's Eagles blankets all over my there's Philly stuff too, and the Phillies stink too. Just because I come in here and I owe it to the A2D radio audience to not be some blowhard homer and tell the people the truth about what I think. What do you want me to say to be a real fan? They're going to go 5-0. They're going to beat the Browns, the Saints, the Packers, the Seahawks, and the Cardinals all right in a row. That's what I have to do to be a fan of the Philadelphia Eagles.
And there goes your credibility right out the window.
Then I'm not credible at all.
No.
You're not favored in any of these teams. Like I said, present me evidence. Present me X and O evidence that the Eagles can beat the Cleveland Browns next week.
Yeah, I don't see it. I just don't
evidence that they can beat the Cleveland. I don't see any.
I don't see how if your offensive line got destroyed by the Washington football team. Okay, what makes you think they're going to be? What makes you think they're going to stop the Browns? The Browns.
We'll entertain. We're going to entertain JP because apparently you have to say the Eagles are going to be undefeated and win the Super Bowl every year to be a real Philadelphia sports fan. Who has the better coach, the Eagles or the Browns?
Right now, I would say the Browns. By the way, the Browns are also 6-3, and who plays in a way better division, the Browns or the Eagles?
I would have to say the Browns. Alex, in honor of the passing of Alex Trebek, who are the Browns? This team has a better quarterback than the Eagles.
they also have legit wide receivers.
You got to answer in the form of a question, Brad. You're not playing Jeopardy. Who are the Browns?
Who are the receivers on the Browns?
They're way better than the trash the Eagles have put together.
Who is Jarvis Landry?
Line. This team has a better offensive line than the Philadelphia Eagles.
Who are their two running backs, by the way?
Who are the Browns? Who has a better defense than the Philadelphia Eagles? Who are the Browns? Present me statistical X and O evidence that the Eagles have a chance in hell to win a road game against a 6-3 Cleveland Browns team next week. Someone, anyone, Brad, Frank, anybody out there.
No, I can't tell. I can't honestly.
Come on, I'm just supposed to come on A2D radio and say they're going to win every game, or I'm some type of fraud. You're the fraud. You're the fraud if you can't see that this team sucks and this team's not going to the playoffs and the Giants are going to go to the playoffs. You're the fraud.
Well, I wouldn't go that far, Rob, because the Giants may not win more than 2 games the rest of the season either. That's the problem.
And like LaMelo Ball for Ben Simmons, I don't know who posted that.
The Browns. So the Browns. Wait.
Oh, same guy, JP.
The Browns are legit.
The stupidest trade of all time. He traded Ben Simmons for LaMelo Ball, and I like LaMelo Ball. I think he's probably going to be a top 5 pick. Has a chance to be real good. But everyone wants to focus on what Ben Simmons can't do rather than what Ben Simmons can do. And guess what? I guarantee you, if you trade Joel Embiid for James Harden straight up, the Sixers are that exponentially closer to winning a championship.
Mike McFly is trying to bring up that the Browns are not a legit 6-3. Let me ask you a question, Mike. What happened when the Browns played the Cowboys? With Dak, by the way. Did the Browns not just chew them up and spit them out like yesterday's trash? Yes, and that was when the Cowboys had Dak. How did the Eagles do against the Cowboys without Dak? They were lucky to even win the damn game with DiNucci out there. Come on, what are you kidding me? I mean, you guys gotta stop with this stuff.
I know.
They don't have Beckham, but they still are a really solid football team.
And I understand. Everyone likes to whip Baker Mayfield. Everyone likes to make fun of him and bag on him because he hasn't lived up to the first overall pick hype, and he's on commercials way too much. And I'm not sure that
agreed. And yeah, he is overrated. But he's still.
If I have to win a game tomorrow, and my only choices at quarterback were Baker Mayfield or Carson Wentz, guess what? I'm taking Baker Mayfield all day long.
And by the way, Baker
is good.
Baker can also run, and the Eagles better watch out for that because we saw what happened against Daniel Jones. They seem to have a problem stopping running quarterbacks. Lamar Jackson.
I don't understand how the Browns aren't a legitimate 6-3. Week 1, they lost to the Ravens, 38-6. They got smoked. Then they beat the Bengals. They won a game they should have won. Then they beat the Washington football team by 14, a game they should have won. At the Cowboys, they win the game by double digits.
With Dak.
Back when the Cowboys had a snowball's chance in hell of actually winning a game. Then they beat the Colts. Colts are looking pretty strong. They took it to the Tennessee Titans, a team I picked to go to the Super Bowl on Thursday Night Football. I mean, that game was never really close. Then you lose to the Steelers. The Browns aren't as good as the Steelers, so of course they lost that game. They complete the season sweep of the Bengals, a game they should win. They took care of business. They won. Week 8, they lost to the Las Vegas Raiders. Don't look now, but the Las Vegas Raiders, I believe they're 6-3 as well, playing great football. Week 9, they had a bye, and then they did what they were supposed to this Sunday against the Texans. They win the game at home. On the road. I think that's Houston, First Energy Stadium. I believe that game was on the road. Then
that's a good win for them.
How is it not a legitimate 6-3? An illegitimate 6-3 would be if their 6 wins were against backup quarterbacks, which is what we've been saying about the Philadelphia Eagles if they were 6-3 right now, because they've only beaten one first-string quarterback. But you want to sit here and tell me I'm some type of fraud because I said they have no chance to win these next 5 games?
They don't have zero chance, but they
still won.
They listen. Every team, anything can happen on any given Sunday. But your life on the line, you're going to pick the Eagles to beat the Browns, or to beat the Saints, or the Packers, or the Seahawks. Come on. And
I'll give them maybe a 10% chance to beat the Browns on Sunday. But
I give them 20, because maybe they can
steal this Saints game somehow if Jameis is playing.
Yeah, but Breeze isn't going to be out that long.
I don't know. It sounds like his rib injury is fairly serious. I mean, he broke a couple of ribs and has a collapsed lung. So, I mean, that sounds fairly serious. I don't know how long he's going to be out for.
I didn't realize he had a collapse. But he played. He played though.
He didn't play in the second half.
Yeah, but after that happened, he played the rest of the first half.
He did.
I know he had a collapsed lung. That I didn't hear. But okay. I mean, if you're saying that, you heard, you obviously heard that. So, I mean, that's got to be at least a couple of weeks. But still, you know what?
I don't understand what fans see in this team that think that they're capable of beating a good team, let alone a great team. Like, the Browns are a good team. The Packers and Seahawks, they're great teams.
And Saints are pretty damn good, too. I mean, listen, they got Kamara back. They got Thomas back. And they are just a loaded offensive football team. And you know what?
I am saying, JP, I am saying they have zero chance to win these next 5 football games. I don't see it happening. I don't see it.
It's going to be tough. They really have. You
can't even beat the Giants.
They screwed up their season with the Washington game and the Cincinnati game. I mean, there's no excuse.
They lost to the Washington. Did they lose that game? They lost week 1, right?
Yeah, they lost to the Washington football team. They got smoked that game.
They tied the Bengals. All of a sudden, they're going to put it together against the Browns, the Saints, the Packers, the Seahawks, and the Cardinals. I'm not buying what you're selling there. I'm just not buying it.
Yeah, the only saving grace for them is that the Giants also have to play the Seahawks and the Cardinals. So that's probably going to be 2 losses as well. But I think the Giants have a hell of a lot better of a chance to beat the Browns than the Eagles do. I think the Giants match up better.
And we got some NBA comments about – I don't understand how you can watch basketball and tell me that Joel Embiid is more valuable to this team than Ben Simmons is. I don't get it.
If you watched the playoffs last year, I think you got the gist of how important. It's not just the offense with Ben Simmons; it's the defensive end too. I mean,
first team all defense.
Yeah, I mean defense matters. Defense matters in the NBA. There aren't that many guys out there who really play good defense anymore. The NBA has become a 3-and-dunk league for the most part, and no defense. But Ben Simmons brings it on the other end of the court, and you could see just how much they missed him against the Celtics. They really did. And as good as Joel Embiid is, you could throw another center out there who can get some rebounds. I'm not saying DeAndre Jordan is better than JoJo. Okay, I'm not making that comment, but all I'm saying is you can throw a guy like him out there to get to pull down some rebounds and play defense. You have
Horford. You traded
right. You have a guy who could go out there, pull down some rebounds, play defense, get a few putbacks, and get some point, get maybe 10 points. Simmons is just at both ends of the court is a very, very tough player to match up against.
Used correctly, Al Horford can average 10 points next season.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. You're telling me he can't get 10? He gets offensive rebounds underneath the basket. He can lay it back in again. I mean that's just how it is with big guys.
Ben Simmons hurts the team by not being.
I mean, Tyson Chandler used that. What do you think Tyson Chandler used to do? Remember him?
He made a whole career of it.
Yeah, he made a whole career of getting rebounds and putbacks. I mean, how do you think when Dennis Rodman used to score? How do you think he scored? Get a rebound and put it back in.
Ben Simmons,
take a 20-foot jumper.
JP chimes in. Ben Simmons hurts the team by not being able to shoot because now you're saying defense is so important. Other teams don't have to play defense on him. Okay, I see your point, and I respect your point. But that's why you trade Embiid. First off, Joel Embiid is. I don't understand the love affair the city has with Joel Embiid because he's clever and witty on Twitter and likes to goof around. He's immature. He's out of shape. He's a turnover machine in crunch time. All he wants to do is shoot threes instead of dominate underneath. I really don't have any time for Joel Embiid.
I mean, if you're asking me who I would rather have on my team between him and Harden, I'd rather have Harden. I mean, I know Harden has his deficiencies, but man, that guy can score. I mean,
you can't pick a better backcourt mate for Ben Simmons.
Oh, absolutely, because then he doesn't.
They complement each other so well.
Exactly, because
Harden doesn't really like playing defense. He's not the best defender. Oh, okay. Well, we got Ben Simmons. He can lock down.
Right, and also
Ben Simmons doesn't want to shoot threes. We got the best scorer in the whole NBA playing right next to him.
And Ben can
It's mind blowing that the Sixers
go to the basket and draw the double team and then send it back out to Harden for the wide open three. And Harden,
I would do the trade in 5 seconds, Brad. I would trade Joel Embiid for James Harden in 5 seconds.
I think that would.
Stinky Kirk Cousins being stinky.
Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins just threw a terrible interception.
Khalil Mack, defensive end.
I didn't realize Khalil had such good hands.
I mean, when you throw it right,
he's certainly enjoying it, isn't he?
But like, I don't understand how you can't explain to me that Simmons, Harden, Richardson, Harris, Horford, that starting five, along with Milton and Matisse, and your 21st overall pick, isn't a better constructed team than Joel Embiid, Al Horford, Tobias, Richardson, and Simmons. It's just
I think that would be a very well
better roster construction, and they would have a much better chance of winning a championship with a backcourt of Ben Simmons and James Harden than a high-low combination of Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid. I don't understand how fans don't recognize that.
Yeah, and one thing about the Rockets,
you want Harden and Joel. I mean,
you can make the argument with the Rockets, okay, but you know what the thing is with the Rockets, nobody on the Rockets ever plays defense. That's always been the problem with them. They'll score 130 a game, and then they'll give up 130 a game. And
Tobias. First off, Tobias isn't trash. He's a pretty good player. He's not worth his contract. He makes $180 million. He's not a $180 million player.
No. But you know what?
Tobias Harris is far from the problem in Philadelphia. You can win a championship with Tobias Harris being your third best player. I truly believe that.
I agree with you there. But he has to be on the right team, though.
Yeah, and Tobias Harris isn't old. He's just been in the league since he's been 19. That's what all these guys did.
Yeah, well, a lot of these guys have been in the league that long. Just, you know.
I know you love Ben Simmons, but, like, bro, he's the guy we got to move. He's young. Other people want them right now. We can get a lot more for him, and that's the move. Get rid of Ben, team somebody up with Joe, and see what's good. I totally disagree. I think you get much more.
The problem with Joel Embiid is I think you get less for Joel Embiid than you do for Ben.
No, I don't think so, because I don't think Ben Simmons has the best reputation around the league. I think he's a little bit of a diva, and the fact that he can't shoot, refuses to shoot in a league dominated by the three-pointer, I think teams see that.
Yeah, but Embiid is so brittle. That's the problem. I mean, you really that's something that you really have to worry about.
Okay. About what?
About Joel Embiid and his injury issues. I mean, he's always getting hurt.
7'2".
I realize that.
He's out of shape. Ben Simmons is in shape.
He is.
Always approved the way he plays the point guard position, but look, he's an elite passer. He's an elite facilitator. Very few can run the fast break like him. And he's probably one of the best top 3 defender in the whole league. Joel Embiid is in top 3 in the NBA at anything, any skill. Joel Embiid's not top 3 in the NBA.
And he's a very disappointing defensive player as well. Because he should be a lot better
sometimes, but I mean, he gets outworked. He's out of shape. You need me on the show. Why don't you hit up Tom Arnaud? You think you can do a better show than me and Brad on the Sports Hounds? Get your crew together, hit up Tommy Arnaud, pay the money for the airtime, and do a show. I totally encourage it.
Yeah, we love to watch.
Join the squad, man. Takeover's real. Takeover talk. Join our team. JP, get your boys together, do a show for 2 hours. It's fun. And even though we disagree on a lot tonight, you're probably smarter than most of the fans out there. You probably do a good job on a show. Ben can't only shoot. He can't be counted on to finish the season. Ben Simmons had 2 seasons.
Oh, now he wants to come on our show.
No, the Sports Hounds are me and Brad.
We've been doing it for
Sports Hounds. I've never seen you comment on the Sports Hounds before. Now all of a sudden you want to be a guest host? Fuck out of here, bro. Fuck out of here. Like, how about you plunk down the Scarol to do the show on your own, and then if you do a good job, maybe then, if Brad can't make it, I'll do a show with you. Yeah, comment on one show and comment on the Sports Hounds. You out of your mind? We're out of their minds tonight. They're watching different sports.
Well, I think they're in a state of shock from what happened yesterday.
They shouldn't be. I've been telling this fan base for 6 months that they're not a contending football team.
And unfortunately, the problem is that nobody ever wants to admit that, you know what, maybe they're just not that good this year. They're just not. I mean, I hate to say this, guys, but do you know who the best sports team is in Philadelphia right now?
Flyers.
Philadelphia Union.
Oh, are they good?
Oh, yeah. They're very good.
And we dig you, JP.
Well, I mean, listen,
JP, keep listening. Keep following it. Make sure you like and subscribe and share and tell all your friends. And come do a show. We need shows.
And by the way, as far as the Flyers go, a little hockey news. Line A is, in fact, back on the trade market. So if you're the Flyers, again,
you should give up whatever it takes to get him.
I would definitely do what I have to do because I believe that he's the one that could put you over the top.
JP, you really think Peterson's the second best coach in the NFL behind Andy Reid? JP, really? Are you kidding me?
Who's the second best coach?
Doug.
No.
The second best?
No.
You think Doug Peterson's the second best coach in the NFL?
First of all, I think I'll tell you what.
That's the oldest take ever.
I'll tell you who I think might end up being, who has a very good chance to be coach of the year this year. Gruden.
He's in the mix.
Gruden's took over a Raider team, and he made some very controversial trades. You know, and he tore that team down.
In Arizona too.
And he's doing it, and he's doing it with a quarterback who's meh. But you know what? Give him credit. I think the and that team beat the Saints one game. I mean that's a good football team, the Raiders.
JP, Doug Peterson's never even won Coach of the Year. So what are you talking about? What accolades? They each have one Super Bowl. Andy Reid's going to the Hall of Fame. Doug Peterson's not going to the Hall of Fame. You think he's the second best coach behind Andy Reid? Mike Tomlin, Pete Carroll, Cliff Kingsbury, Gruden, Arians. Should I keep going? LaFleur, Vrabel, Joe Judge.
Joe Judge has done a nice job with that team. I mean, the Giants.
Ron Rivera is a better coach than Doug Peterson right now. I mean, to say Doug Peterson is the second best coach in the league behind Andy Reid, You still have Bill Belichick up there. You have Sean McDermott, who's done an excellent job, another candidate for Coach of the Year.
What about the guy out in Los Angeles?
McVay.
I'm not talking about the Chargers.
Yeah, but JP, you could hire an assistant like Todd Bowles, and he would be better than Doug.
Yeah, I mean, Todd Bowles.
He's not doing anything right.
Yeah, well, Todd Bowles maybe not, but Doug right now has turned a team that has some talent on it into a very bad football team right now. So you're not going to get my vote there. You know, you're just not right now, at least.
Yeah, I am. Doug C should be scorching hot if he doesn't win this division. Scorching hot, along with the general manager and the defensive coordinator.
Yeah, I mean, you do realize whoever wins this division is going to be under 500. I mean, I think we could basically put a lock on that, because there's no way the Eagles are going to be 8-7-1. Sorry, no way that's happening. Okay, and the Giants sure as hell aren't going to get any wins either. So I mean, you're asking the Giants to win 5 of their last 6. See.
Oh man, we lost Brad. Did we lose him? Are we going to get him back? All right, real quick to end the show. We'll skip early leans this week. Bet the Browns. That's my advice. I'm also ice cold right now, so the Eagles will probably win, since I said all show that they have zero chance to win any of the games. Let me highlight a few people that I really like in the NBA draft, which is on Wednesday. I really like Cole Anthony out of North Carolina. I think he should be a top 5 pick. He's not going in the top 5 in any of the mocks I'm reading, because UNC was a disaster last year and he got hurt. I think he'd be a great fit for Brad Nix at number 8. I think he'd be – even the Hawks, they have Trae Young. I just think Cole Anthony's just way too good of a talent to pass up. He's there at 21 for the Sixers. I'd be all over that. Jalen Smith out of Maryland is a player I really like. I think he has a Brad lost power, so we'll catch up with Brad next week. Jalen Smith, first team All Big Ten, one of the best conferences in the country. I think there's a very very strong chance that he'll be on the board there at 21. Last guy I'm going to highlight, who's just going way too late in all these mock drafts, is Tyrese Maxey. I think he can really score and defend in the NBA. I thought he really came into his own as Kentucky. If there was an NCAA tournament last year, I think we would have been talking about Kentucky being pretty much a shoo-in for the final, Final Four. Sixers also have a lot of second-round picks, and we'll see what happens on the James Harden front. I'm actually excited to see what the Sixers can do this offseason. I think they're not far away. Do you think you'll make a trade to move up in the draft? No, I don't think you have to make a trade to move up in the draft. The Sixers are short on assets, JP. Really, the only assets you have are Joel Embiid and Ben. I'm not trading any of them for an unproven rookie. Like, sorry, if you want to move one of them and get Harden in town, preferably Embiid, in my opinion, I think that gives you a better chance to win a championship, in my opinion. But I think the Sixers have just as good a chance to get a potential max player superstar if you play your cards right at 21, and the Knicks do at 8. I think there's only one player who's a lock to be a future All-Star in this draft, and that's James Wiseman. And it looks like he's not going to go first in the draft because the Wolves have Karl Anthony Towns. So it looks like the Warriors are going to get the best player in the draft at pick number 2. And they're going to have Wiseman, Green, Klay Thompson, and Steph Curry, and be right back in the championship mix after a kind of fucked year where Steph got hurt, Klay was hurt, and they just weren't good. And yes, Don, I have heard of Isaiah Joe. He's really good. He's out of Arkansas. I think Aaron Naismith is going to go higher in this draft than people are expecting. He's shot over 50% from 3 out of Vanderbilt. I think he's a player to watch. I think New Orleans is a good fit for him. But Tyrese Maxey, Jalen Smith out of Maryland, and Cole Anthony Those are the guys I'm watching for on Wednesday night. Hopefully the Sixers can be fortunate enough to grab one of them. JP, I think LaMelo Ball, I think he has a chance to be a good player in the league. But I don't think it's a lock that he's going to be a good player. And I do think there's a lot of value. I think good players are undervalued in this draft from picks, say, like 12, 13 on to the rest of the first round. I think there's going to be good players that go there, undervalued players. Because I don't have a read on any of these foreign guys, and I think there's a couple of guys from Florida State that scouts are just falling in love with that I really don't understand at all. But anyway, that'll do it for the Sports Hounds. Brad Ryer, I'm Rob Brinkman, Frank Vesby producing. Thank you to our sponsors, Philly Drinkers, Ambuck Services, and Specialized Physical Therapy, Dr. Paul Vidal. Thank you to everyone who liked, comment, shared, listened to the show. Until next Monday, hopefully we're talking about an Eagles win over the Browns, even though I highly doubt it. See you next Monday, everybody.